Here to give some very useful and relevant remarks, and also the very first illustrator that we've had to give a keynote in the last 5 years. Please help me welcome Shadra Strickland.
Whenever I hear those wonderful introductions, I feel like I don't need to get up and do this hard thing of talking in front of a bunch of people that I've never met before. Hello, good evening everyone. Thank you so much to Janae Britt for inviting me to speak this evening, and congratulations to all the participants, those of you, the winner this year, and those of you who just decided to put your heart and soul into bookmaking, because it is definitely a marathon and not a sprint. So, a few things. Can everyone hear me? Yeah. Okay. Artists don't make any money. There aren't many black women who illustrate picture books. Female artists aren't as good as male artists. New York is way too expensive to go and live. Why don't you just stay in Georgia and teach? Design is the only safe art job, and make sure that you have a backup plan. These are all things that I've heard along my journey to becoming a published children's book illustrator and soon to be author. Most of the people doling out these lovely gems have been well-intentioned, some family, some friends, some business colleagues, some random strangers who decided to share a bit of advice on the subway, train, or bus. Most thought they were doing me a service by saving me from a long road of struggle, misery, and potential self-mutilation. Let's face it, many don't get past that story they heard about Van Gogh in high school art class. It hasn't been easy. The journey has been long, and yes, there has been some struggle, but I would rather be doing the thing that comes the most naturally to me than to try and turn myself inside out to potentially make more money and potentially make myself miserable. Unlike our winners this evening, I never won any awards in high school or college for my art, but I did have encouragement. My mother was an educated and realized early on in our life together that I could be left in a room for hours drawing without a care in the world. And as a single mother, that was possibly the greatest discovery of her life. She encouraged me to keep going. I moved hundreds of miles away from Georgia to go to Syracuse University and study art. Oftentimes, I was the only African American woman in class. I saw tons of beautiful and inspiring art made mostly by white men and a few white women. I didn't see any illustrators that made images about people who looked like me. Come to think of it, I also didn't have any teachers there who looked like me. When I did finally have a class with a black female illustrator, I expected it to be life-changing. It wasn't. There was no breakthrough in my art. I couldn't magically draw hands any faster or easier. I didn't find in her the mentor that every on-screen college student gets. It was still up to me to make my own success story. By senior year, I had no idea what I wanted to do as an artist. After graduation, friends would share their future job prospects as accountants, lawyers, nurses, engineers. I hadn't gotten farther than going back to Atlanta and making myself a sandwich. Where do you even apply to be an artist? I began teaching public art school in Atlanta for a few years and could have made it a career. But deep down, I knew it wasn't my real life. The picture in my head for my future self was not Shadra, the elementary school art teacher. I wanted something different. I left Atlanta again to attend graduate school at the School of Visual Arts and rack up even more debt trying to be an artist. To make money during that time, I taught art at an after-school program in Chinatown and landed an internship at Penguin Publishing as a graphic designer. In school, I was embraced by a community of 4 other talented and hard-working, hopeful picture book illustrators. We read together, we drew together, we wrote together, and encouraged one another. And after 2 years of grad school, everyone went on to get book deals with major publishing houses. Well, they did, everyone except me. I kept waiting for my big break. I kept waiting for my real life to begin. Those were very tough times. I was happy for my friends, but I kept thinking, was I not as talented? Should I have become a graphic designer? Should I have continued teaching? Was I not talented enough? Was it because I was black? I kept working. I stopped making pictures that I thought other people wanted to see and began making images that were true to my own experiences. In the meantime, I kept cheering on my friends. I went to every award ceremony and happy publication dinner with a smile on my face and in my heart. It really was an amazing time for all of us. On a chance outing to a children's book art show, I ran into an editor at a multicultural publishing house who I continuously sent work to. She invited me to her office where I shared my work to a room of editors with very serious faces. I left and followed up with a polite email thanking everyone for their time and asked if there was a particular reason why she invited me to the office on the coldest day of February in New York City. It was. The next day, she sent me my first manuscript, a beautiful and unusual story about a young boy who used drawing as a way to cope with the loss of his brother who struggled with addiction. I cried when I read it because it was at that moment that I felt all of my hard work finally come to fruition and pay off. That was the moment that I knew my real life was beginning. So we fast forward 9 years. I have won awards. I have traveled to many countries to share my work. I am a professor at a respected art college. I own adult things like a house and a dog. I am paying my bills. I take care of my mother, who encouraged me from the beginning. I am now working on my first authored picture book. The dream doesn't always look the way that it does in your head, but trust your gut, believe in yourselves, and keep living the dream. I'm not done. I have to give some real advice here. I can't. So this is my path. Yours will be different, but hopefully as rewarding with great surprise and adventure. I do want to leave you with a bit of practical advice for being an artist. Keep a sketchbook with you at all times and draw everything you see. Draw in waiting rooms, draw in line at the grocery store, at home with your family, watching television, draw everything. And this includes writing. The act of doing this helps you see things more clearly so that when you are in the studio drawing from your head, your hands already have some memory stored in them to help the process along. Live the most inclusive life that you can. Art, along with the friends I have made on my art journey, has taken me to many new places like Africa, Asia, Europe. One of my best friends is a picture book illustrator in Seoul, South Korea. When I visited her there, she taught me printmaking, which I was able to use in my upcoming book, The Child's First Book of Prayers and Blessings, Never stop learning. I'm fortunate to teach, which allows me to learn. It's a reflexive act. My first poem was published this year after taking poetry writing over the summer at MICA, Maryland Institute College of Art. I also learned so brilliant students. They are truly blessings to me. Every experience that you have is an opportunity to learn something new, so make sure that you stay open to that. Be kind and thoughtful. Thank you is a phrase that is not used nearly enough, but is one that opens many doors. No one owes us anything, so we always must be gracious. Be a scavenger. In order to make beautiful art, you must consistently seek out beauty and knowledge. Read everything, talk to people, and ask tons of questions. As one who counsels many hardworking and talented students in college through finals week each year, take care of yourselves, eat your fruits and veggies, spend some time in nature, surround yourself with people who love you and can receive the love that you give, get some rest. All-nighters are the worst. Lastly, have fun. As hard and painful as it is to create, it is also one of the greatest and rarest joys that most people never experience. You are talented, you are thoughtful, and you are hardworking. There is nothing to prove. Useful? Useful? Good. Thank you very much.